All right, rhythms and pickings. This is kind of a different half of the lesson or lessons because we're going to concentrate on the right hand, which is the musical hand, and we're going to kind of see why. But first, let's digress and let's look at the pentatonic scale. There's a lot more notes that you can put in that scale, and I want to just show you how I've always practiced it. And it kind of reminds you when you're playing what notes are available to you. So I started out from work all the way up and back, but just for the demonstration purposes. So you can see that's almost chromatic. The only two notes we're not playing here, and this is A, so we're not playing the B flat, and we're not playing the E flat, so doesn't go. So remember that as you're playing, that all those fit. In fact, I'm going to show you in a song coming up. On the breakdown, I play exactly that. The scale going down and then coming back using all of the notes. Okay, that being said, I sent you a paper that just has arrows up and down, etc. Typically, that's how rhythms are written if one was going to take that time. Keeping in mind, too, that if I was going to actually write out rhythms, I would have on the top of those arrows the flag. So it'd be quarter note or eighth note or 16th note. And rest would be in there, of course. So let's just look at some of your basic rhythms. And the first being, let's say, just 4. We're going to play on 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which we should always be doing when we're playing rhythms, or at least learning them. So that'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, that's some pretty basic stuff. And honestly, you can go in and put rest in, or say I'm going to hit on 1 and 3 or 1 and 3, and that's how drummers play. Drummers go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And that's their kick drum. Boom, 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 boom. So if I put a scratch in there on the eighth notes before that, you kind of pick up that bass drum, or a more drummy sound. Anyway, it's endless. So not much to be said about rhythms other than they're more felt than they are read. And in the beginning, you want to listen to whatever song it is that you're learning and see what the original guy's doing. However, if you sing along with a song, that will often dictate your rhythms. Probably the most misplayed rhythm is Four Non Blondes' What's Up? And the reason being is most solo guitarists or guitarists that are playing, what she's singing is kind of really contradictory to the rhythm. The rhythm is, as I recall, Not real hard, nothing to it. You listen to it, you play it. It's kind of a regurgitation thing. However, if you're singing and you find it, you kind of have to drop a couple of those beats or move them, that's what you do. Because the melody is what people know. What the rhythm of the guitar is, they really don't. If they hear it right, they know it's kind of comfortable to them, but that's all they know. Okay, so that being said, let's move on to, we're going to look at some picking and different ways to create rhythms. And one of the first things I want to look at when we'll start with the pick is songs that have descending bass lines that you are playing. The most notable one is Jack Johnson's Better Together. So if the lead starts on fret 10 between strings 4 and 3, you just and then the song is, yeah. So the chord is F, and then an F with an E in the bass. And then it goes to D minor, to C, to B flat with A in the bass, to a G, and to C. So a very integral part of this song is getting that bass line to walk down as you're playing the chords. Now, in this case, and if you recall in either the last video or one before, I had mentioned I know where I am in the guitar at all times because I know all the notes on string 6 and string 5. And I know all of them on 5 mainly because of relationship. I know this is an E and that's an A, and this is an F and that's a B flat. That's a G and a C, an A and a D and a B and an E and a C and an F and a D and a G and an E back to A. When you're picking notes and chords, especially on bass walk downs, you are going to typically, if it starts in F, you're going to start on that F note. Now, he uses 5 and 4, it comes down in the form of the chord. Now, I just learned this recently. When you use the 2 notes into a chord, whether it's 5 and 4 or whether it's 6 and 5, it's called Travis picking. Now, so didn't know that. Apparently Merle Travis came up with that picking a long time ago, and some people teach it as Travis picking. That part doesn't matter. It's the actual how you're playing it, and this song is all about the 2 notes going into the chord. Right, so I wrote that out for you, and that's in the stuff I sent, but I wrote it out the way I would write it out if I was for me. If I write out a lot of stuff, so if I don't remember it, I can go back to what I wrote when I originally learned it. But as you can see, and as you can see from some of the other stuff I downloaded from guitar tabs, Ultimate Guitar, it's a lot of the stuff is just very simplified. They're giving you the chord. They're not telling you where to play it or how to play it. And that's for you to figure out as you start learning things. So let's another descending bass line. This one is a little more difficult, as if the stretch isn't. That's all you're doing is learning to bring this index finger down without moving the other three fingers. Stevie Winwood, Can't Find My Way Back Home. It's in D. So it's in D, so what he's doing is that, going from the D to the C, to the B, to the B flat, F, G, and back to D. Cool line. What makes the whole thing interesting on guitar is that you're walking that line down. So you're basically playing the chord and kind of picking those notes out, and also playing the bass part. So much more interesting for the listener. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. I'm going to give you a song. This is my arrangement of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It's in C instead of D. I arranged it for a chick singer. So So it's a C minor, and I'm using these pentatonic notes. Not wasting them. And then I'm just going down to the B. Obviously, I've got to now change positions to get these three strings and the note below it. So it's just a more haunting way, a more interesting way, a fuller way to play guitar and kind of pick up that moving part while you're playing just the chords. Going back to this, that takes us into the option of do. Sounds okay with a pick, but I could also lose the pick. that is a very common finger picking method where you're pinching your bottom string and your top string. Now that bottom string can be any of these. I'm saying your bottom note or the lowest note that you're hitting and you want heard. So I'm playing a D chord, that's a D note, that's an F sharp. So that's the third of the chord. So I'm playing the first and the third of the chord there. And then you're just coming up with your first finger. So very common. I use this 90% of the time. Let me say, yeah. So this song moves. The moving part is on top, not the bottom notes. But it goes from a C9 to a C to a C major 7th. So I'm constant on string 5, which is 3rd fret C. And then I'm coming up on the actual notes. Kind of could be a Barry Manilow song. Anyway, and the whole song uses this technique. So I'm going from basically my pinch on strings 5 and 2 to 5 and 1, and sometimes dropping down to 4 and 1, whichever is harmonically correct in the song, but it allows me to pick up much of the melody as I'm playing. Same concept for, and I'm going to play this in A minor instead of B minor. So it's the A minor to E. So I'm going up to, in this case, A minor to the B, which is the 9th, and then when I drop to the E chord, the B in the E chord is the 5th. So my pitch is the root in the 5th. But the concept's the same. No matter what you're playing like that. So it's a pinch, it's a harmonic pinch, it can be octaves, but it's kind of how you decide you want to play that kind of part. I'm pretty sure it is, so I'm going to put this on 3. So, yeah. so forth and so on. That just repeats itself. Anyway, that's that form of picking. It's basically utilizing your thumb and your first finger. Then there's the plucking. And there you have all kinds of different songs. So it's basically using strings or fingers 1, 2, and 3 on strings either 3, 2, and 1 or 2, 3, and 4. They're usually always going to be together. Ian Anderson at 17, the song's called. She starts out using that's the verse there. But when she gets to the chorus, she goes into that Travis picking. Into just plucking the whole thing. Jack Johnson in the song Belle does it a little different. He uses the Travis part though. Whatever comes next. If you look that song up on any chord charting site, it's going to give you the right chords. I did, gave me the right chords. No clue as to how to play it, but that's kind of up to you. And what we've done here is giving you a lot of options. Because all of these things work. And then you have the technique of hiding the pick, being able to play a finger picking part. And then the pick comes out. So where I put it is in my finger between the two creases. I know guys that stick it up here in between their two fingers, and that, you know, I've tried a lot of ways. This way works for me 99%, 97% of the time. I don't lose my pick, but getting it back to come in on that part in time. You kind of have to be careful or that pick's going to go flying out of my hand. Anyway, that's another technique that you, at times, you know, there's several times and several songs that I've done that I do need to use that. So the next thing I want to look at is something that we kind of been playing, and that's duotones. Duotones are exactly what it says, two notes that go together harmonically, and it can be octaves. So we have been playing duotones. Every time we play two notes together, that is a duotone. There are some songs that's all there is to it. Blackbird, Beatles. Now he does use his drone string, but mainly everything is based on a duotone. He does not play any chords in this song. Sting does the same thing in the song Fragile. That's the whole song, it just repeats. But it's all duotones. And it's kind of cool when there's other guitars and other things around that on that particular song. But it does carry the melody. But on most songs, we're just using it as just a duotone going into moving notes and or a chord. So the next thing you want to kind of look at there, and I told you I would give you the use of that scale in Long Train Around. The end of the song, anyway, that is the bridge that I use, or transition that I use on that retard to get back then into that. And Doobie Brothers, very percussive, all of them, all three of their guitarists, very percussive, scratching a lot, and scratching is when you're doing your rhythms. You can do 1, 2, which means there's a rest between 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, in which case they're quarter notes. But you don't typically play like that. It would be more 1, 2, 3, 4. If you switch that around and play on the end, then you're playing reggae. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so as a lead guitar player, and this is most people think, okay, I'm playing rhythm, and the other guy is playing lead because he plays notes and I play chords, and that's really not it. As a lead guitar player, you kind of want to be able to play everything that's necessary in the song. In the song Reunited, Peaches and Herb. So So there's a lot of notes in between there. I'm filling the gap in the chord movement, or the transition between from chord to chord. It's a C major 7th, but and then the transition to go to the D, minor 7th, to the F minor 7th. That's the whole song. The only thing that song does is change keys every time it does verse, chorus, key change, verse, chorus, and it goes up a half step. That's it. But these are the things that you're looking for. These are all chromatic things. And again, choice things in rhythms. If you yeah, I shot the sheriff. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So G minor to a C minor to a G minor, and then the chorus is C minor to a D minor, back to the G minor. It's been a long time. So what I'm doing there is I'm moving the chords constantly. There's a G minor, but again, that's the whole chromatic scale. And then to the C minor, but I'm doing it with the 7th. And then when I get to the chorus, I'm going to the C minor open 7th, and then just a C minor, so. And then in between the verse, all pentatonic. Now, obviously, you play in a straight reggae band, they're not going to appreciate that part. But if you just want to play it a little different and make it a little more interesting, then and that would be the way to do it. So if I want to play something, say more classical, or not classical, more old, the song Misty. so forth and so on. But you can see the chords again. If you look those chords up, they'll kind of be exactly the way I'm playing it. But it's, it's not even that's an E flat major seventh, and that might be there. But some of these chords, and that's a regular E flat. But it's all a matter of where you put them and how you play them. And you kind of have all those tools now. So it's at this point, it's what I tell all my students: guitar's yours. Take it home, play the hell out of it, because you have and all the things you need to know to be able to make your guitar sing without your voice singing, which has always been my goal. So that's that for that. Have fun playing guitar.